You should never put yourself in a situation where you feel like you're placed to be in competition with another woman about a man, because then that's when you will begin to compromise your integrity, your values, and what you believe in order to win. And if you have to compromise your values and integrity to win, then you haven't won, you've actually lost. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is LolaAjisafe here. We are reviewing episode 8, Ready to Love. And this episode, as usual, now we've got to the part, it's Meeting the Exes episode. Before we start, housekeeping rules, please don't forget to hit the like button. You come in, just hit a like, yo. Just hit a like. Thank you very much for the like so far. Just hit the like. Second of all, and more importantly, I want to say is drop a comment. I like reading from people. I like to hear what they say. That's the interaction. Last but not least, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. All right, so let's get into it. So first thing first, this episode, it starts off course with Gents Lounge. This week, the men they're doing the elimination. So we're at Gents Lounge, final 5. When I look around at final 5, I don't want to be mean, but I see Murray there. Like, he might be a nice guy, but he seemed like a church guy. But apparently, as we go through this episode, I realize he's not a church guy, but he looked like a church guy. But we're going to get into it. Uncle Nephew Tommy goes into the part where he's talking about, how, the purpose of them always wanting, you to meet the exes. You can, evaluate how this person has grown. What red flags might be in it, and we always talk about red flags, but red flags are different. You know what, I almost wanted to say that red flags are different for everyone, but I'd like to say that, there are some things that standard for everyone, that just, because it's all about red flags being your non-negotiables. Like, if you see that red flag, I would say it's not red flag and run, it's always red flag and discuss. Because that might be a misinterpretation that you're calling a red flag. You may not be completely reading the situation right. So another reason why he thought, they had started this whole thing about meeting the exes that he articulates today is that when you see them together, you can see who he is in a relationship. And, you pay attention to that and clock that. And I think that was key, because I don't know if you guys remember, it was 2 or 3 seasons ago. I want to say his name was Naeem. Like, when he had, I don't remember who he had meet his ex, like, we could see that people weren't done. Like, sis, they still had that kind of, are we beefing because we're together or not? And so I think that's what's important. You can see how he's, he's playing with the ex, how he's communicating with the ex, how he's articulating with the ex. And not to say that you want to put yourself in the position of being an ex, but you can see how he operates outside of yourself. Now, of course, someone could have changed, but still, I think it definitely does. It does help, but more importantly, you can ask the question. I think he said this well, that you can see if he's healed from his last relationship. This is big, because you will hear a lot of people talk about this. It's like, because you see, you might go through a relationship, it ends, maybe depending on who wanted it to end, the other party is still healing from it, and then a lot of the time, and I won't even say whether it's men or women, but a lot of the time people think the way to heal from a relationship is to go into another one. That popular saying, the best way to get over someone is to get under someone. No, it's not. It's not. Like, it's not. It's not. I say it's not. I don't need to break it. It's not. And so you do see people do that a lot and get into this dating game, and it becomes exhausting. So the whole premise of meeting the ex would be able to help you decipher and see, has this person healed? And how do they relate with someone who they've been intimate with in the past? I mean, some people can be homies, but, let's see how it goes. All right, so first meeting is Murray meeting up with his ex, Jessica, and his ex here, and they're both meeting up with Jessica and Janelle. And before they come, he says something about, you need to ask them about, sexual appetite. I'm like, bro, like, I don't know how I felt about, like, I asked them about sexual. I mean, what has changed in the world today where, and I'm not saying that, being intimate with your partner is not important, but how is that, yes, something you think needs to be discussed as you're just getting to meet each other with somebody else? That's what I think. Because you haven't decided on somebody. Yeah, I don't know. It just seems I don't know what the word I'm looking for. Crude, crass, almost performative. I'm sorry. I want to say him telling his ex to ask them about, to tease out sexual appetite. It seems performative to me because honestly, yeah, there are people who, everybody has a different threshold, appetite, drive, libido, however you want to put it. But the truth is, I feel that you are different with different people, depending on how well you connect with one person. If you connect with another person differently, that could dictate how you guys connect in that arena, because intimacy isn't just about bang, bang, bang. It's about connecting, it's about emotions, about feelings. So just wanting to jump ahead, and how you feel about that? I think it just, I was just like, anyway, that aside, the two of them seem to have like a nice, easy energy. So obviously it's clear that if they were truly exes, because now you don't know what you're going to get. People just pulling stuff up now to give you a performance for reality TV. But if they were exes, they have a nice, friendly energy. It looks like things are done with them. The question comes up when I don't know how she asked the question, but anyway, she asked them about, how do you feel about sex, where their appetite is. Both of them looked at her kind of crazy, like, yeah, this is not something I'm going to discuss either with you in front of the cameras or with anybody else. I think it's a personal conversation. So yeah, I don't think that's going to tell you, yeah, I'm sorry. Is it an important thing to discuss? Yes, it is. But I don't think that's something you would discuss on date one. I think once you've gone through the, some of the big things, like, would I even consider you? Then that should be, they're not at the point where, sexual preferences and taste should come up. I'm sorry. Like, if somebody comes to you on a dating app and after, hello ma'am, how you doing, he says something about, yeah, I'm a freak, please hit delete, because that's what he's looking for. If he hasn't asked you about who you are, what your interests are, what color, something about you as a human, as a person that makes you distinctive, and he's just talking about, yeah, how you doing, like, yeah, you do, like, nah, delete. Don't even ask, like, what do you mean by that, cute? No, just delete. And I feel that it's just, yeah, I think seeing that, I was aggravated by it, and it's interesting. I was pleased to see the two ladies were aggravated by it too, and that was the beginning of the end for that whole date. And she brings out tarot cards. Now, I'm not, against tarot cards. I do understand astrology to some extent, so I'm not like, calling them the occult or whatever you want to call it. So my reaction wouldn't be that, but I don't know if he didn't read the room. I don't know where in his mind he thought it made sense. Now, to the producer, that's great TV. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, a couple episodes back, it seems like nobody's really serious. People are just here to get some TV time. That pretty much shut the date down. I don't know if they talked after that, but I think like they're done. I don't know. To me, it was done. Like, if you've been, because I do believe there's some conversation that, Jessica said that she had been talking with him extensively. And I don't know when Maury, I'm sorry, and I don't want to be rude, but when did Maury have a chance with Janelle? I'm sorry, I don't want to be rude, but yeah, when did they have a chance? Now, of course, they don't televise everything. I get that. Me would like to say that this whole thing about percentages and not enough men and too many women is giving some people false hope. That's all I'm going to say. So he did have a third date that I don't know if he had decided to do that after the fact, that was meant to be with Sierra. So he meets alone with Jessica. So we'll just, now this time it's him, Jessica, and Sierra, because he was saying that yeah, he felt like Sierra gave him homegirl vibes. So you give people homeboy vibes too, so you might just be a perfect couple, but I'm not here to tell you what to do. And so Sierra's thinking is, first of all, she does have an issue with exes staying friends, so that is like a yellow card for her. I won't call it red, but like a yellow card for her. Honestly, if I think about it, can exes be friends? Yeah, but there'll be boundaries and there'll be an understanding. I mean, it seemed like a cute little meeting. I mean, it was much better than the prior meeting, but do they have anything in common? I don't know. I don't know if that, I mean, can I be honest with you? I don't know why Mario is still here. That's all. That's all I have to say. Cause I don't feel like Sierra feeling like that. Sierra just showing up to film. Honestly, Jessica said that she had a good connection with him over the phone. But you and I both know that phone is very different than in person. That's why they always say if you're going to, and I don't even, at this point, I won't even recommend dating apps for people again, because at this point it's like, it seems like people who are making great connections on dating apps seem to be the exception and not the rule. Because it appears to me that dating apps make more money if you don't meet someone. Next, meet the ex is Quentin, whose ex is Brianna. We're meeting up with Janelle and Lee. I think what was key here was, one, Brianna mentions that she and Quentin broke up because he didn't want to be exclusive. Like, I think they just broke up. Maybe it's true, when a man is ready, he's ready, and when a man is not, he's not. So I get that, but I'm like, why is he ready now? I'm sorry. That's what I'm thinking. Of course, that easily could be a yellow card, which could be up for discussion, just to understand the process he went from not wanting to be exclusive to being exclusive. It could be very simply that, you know, Brianna wasn't his person. Because I think a lot of the time, you know, when a man meets the person that he's labeled as the one for him, who he possibly could envision himself marrying, he will be the man that the lady before hoped she could have but didn't get. So that could be it. But still, I think it would be important to have a conversation to make sure that Quentin is not just saying he wants to be exclusive or monogamous because of the show or just being performative, because now they have a camera rolling. That's the second, you know, ulterior motive that you have to tease out. Because there's, you know, I don't know where I was seeing this online the other day. It's not monogamy, but monogamish, monogamy-like, you know, relationships where it's not quite monogamy, but it's mixed in with a little spice. I'm just like, now there are two schools of thought. I'm from Nigeria, and so, you know, there's the school of thought where they feel like monogamy was created by the Western world. The white man is trying to tell you that one man, one woman, but it's not natural. A man needs to have many women, and blah, 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 blah. But then there's another school of thought, I think, where, and I don't know, because I'm not a man, and I definitely need to get, I would love to get, you know, to parlay this conversation on something else, where my question now is, if a man is young, probably not so, but a man who is, you know, has grown, matured a little bit, can he be satisfied with one woman, particularly the woman that he chooses, the woman he desires, and the woman he wants? That can he truly practice monogamy with somebody that he chose and chose him? Because sometimes there's always that, when I didn't choose and she chose, like whatever. So if a man meets somebody that he really likes and really likes him back, is he able to practice monogamy? Like, is you know, because I'm not a man, so I'm not here, but you hear men say, well, you don't really understand how a man thinks and how it's that, da, 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 da. But the truth is, if he has what he desires and decides, and I use the word decide, you know, strongly, decides to be disciplined, can he practice monogamy without any drawback? I don't know, because now it's like all these names for different types of relationships, all these names for just different ways of being intimate with more than one person. It's not my job here. I'm not a therapist to discriminate or judge. But the polyamory and the this and the that and the swinging and the stag, all these different names, like y'all coming up with names that is beyond me. You know, I can't even keep up with it anymore. Is it just the world's way of having their cake and eating it? Or are we truly trying to, you know, stifle human feelings and desires? And that's a conversation y'all can have. What do I think today, yesterday, and today and tomorrow my desire is for monogamy, not monogamish. Oh, that's not what I desire. I can't focus. That's why the whole premise of this dating show is interesting, because I don't think I can focus on more than one person at the same time. I can't. And I hear many people say the same thing. It's just difficult. I can't, at least I haven't, I haven't experienced that, where it's like there are more than one person I'm really into. Talk less of trying to ride more than one person. But that's just me, and most kids today say I'm old. So is he trying to be exclusive just because of the show, or has he grown? Or 3, does he think he has found the woman who he wants to be with? Because when a man is motivated, forget all the other. You can nag a man to death. If he's not motivated, nothing's gonna happen. Last thing that came up for discussion that I thought was interesting was Q had mentioned, and I think he mentioned it during the date too, when he said he'd been mulling over something with Lee and ghosted her. That's a red flag, And once again, another season, I don't have a red flag. I was going to put a sneaker, but that's not appropriate. But red flag. That's a problem. All right, so let's talk why that's a problem. This ghosting BS. I don't want my video to get flagged. But this ghosting BS is an issue. Why? Because can you take your own time? Yes, you can take your own time if you need a moment. If you need a minute, you may take your own time. But my problem with ghosting here is that what prevents you from communicating that you need your own time? We're all grown-ups here. What stops you from saying, excuse me, I'm going to need a minute, let me get back to you? As opposed to, and I have credited Quentin with being emotionally intelligent. So as an emotionally intelligent, emotionally mature human being, which is the desire you want in your mate, you desire your mate to be that. If there's something where you need a second, because there's nothing wrong with saying I need a second, what's wrong with communicating that, as opposed to just going cold or going silent? And then you had the down on the audacity to be a little perturbed that Lee had withdrawn. Like, bro, you hadn't resolved an ongoing thing already before this date, then you thought she was going to be all over you? Yo, Quentin, this is strike one. This is an issue. I'm having an issue with you right now, because you use your own words about this ghosting thing. It's never okay to ghost someone. It always makes sense as a mature human being. Hey, I'm going to take a second. You may not be able to give them a time frame, but I think if you need to take a second for more than 2 weeks, maybe it's not for you. Maybe that relationship's not for you. Something that Brianna said that I was like, when she was asking, like, as the two ladies were sitting, Janelle and Lee were sitting next to each other, did they feel like they were in competition with each other? I don't like that, and I'll tell you why. The world wants us to feel, particularly women for some reason, the world wants us women to feel like we're in competition with each other, but we are not. And don't even put yourself in a position to make yourself feel like you're in competition with another human. That's why I don't like the premise of the show. You should never put yourself in a situation where you feel like you're placed to be in competition with another woman about a man, because then that's when you will begin to compromise your integrity, your values, and what you believe in order to win. And if you have to compromise your values and integrity to win, then you haven't won, you've actually lost. Because what good are you in a relationship with somebody else if you can't even bring yourself? Or if you had to come out of yourself and be another person to get that person probably wasn't for you to begin with. So that's the beginning of the end already. So that competition thing for, going to relationship, please scratch it off. Please mark it. The thing just, maybe I'm a little bit triggered, but it's irritating and it's annoying because we're not in competition. I solely, wholeheartedly, as I just say, believe that what's yours is yours and what's mine is mine. I don't need to slide you. I don't need to push you. I don't need to use capitalist thinking to get my partner, my person. My personal person. I don't have to compete to get my person. My person will recognize me and I will recognize him. Y'all can do what you want. We're not in competition, sis. That's how I believe. So that was just like, sis, please don't push the the narrative of women being in competition with each other. No, we're not. Now men can have a different conversation. I'm not going to speak for men, but for women, that's what I want to discuss with you all. That we're not in competition with each other. Yeah, we're not. Like, so, because that continues to perpetuate that whole thing about how women can't get along. Yeah, I'm still feeling a little bit triggered, but it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's cool. It's cool. It's cool. And knowing this, knowing that we're not in competition with each other, will begin to heal the nonsense that's going on right now. And what do you say, Lola? What do you mean by all this nonsense? When people talk about the dating pool, and some people say the dating pool is no longer water, it's piss. The reason why there's piss in the water, a strong stench of piss in the water, is because the narrative that's been perpetuated that women need to compete to get a man. No, it's not in the Bible, not so. There's somebody for everybody. I have to compete. I have to, I have to be twerking or doing something dumb. Like, if I have to do that, you're not the person for me. If you can't recognize me, I'm not saying I'm going to be walking around in half slippers and a bonnet in the airport. And you're going to be like, no, I'm not. I'm going to, represent myself appropriately. I will. But at the same time, I don't need to have my skirt hitched up and, for you to be like, oh, I think, no, I don't need to do that. That's not me. Okay, now if that's you, if you like, how do I put this lightly and politely? If you like Tatiana, summer wear or the summer line, and that's you, that's essentially who you are, then be you. So you get somebody who likes the Tatiana look. That's not for me. And I don't want somebody that who is only drawn to that. Now, can you wear Tatiana stuff, behind closed doors? Yo, do you? But yeah, so that's why I just don't want you to be somebody else to get somebody. So then you have to remain that somebody else while you have them, or in order to keep them, you have to remain somebody else. That's not comfortable, but let me not kill a dead horse. So let's move on. So next, meet the ex, Chris. Niger Chris meets up with his ex is Valerie, and it's with Aries and Jessica. One key thing that came up immediately was, I think Jessica had asked that why did they break up, and Valerie had said, well, she didn't want to be a girlfriend forever. To be quite honest, even Valerie's energy didn't seem quite inviting, like she was here for this role, almost like I won't say she was coerced, but or maybe that's her personality. One, the cameras. Two, she may not be an extrovert, so to say, or particularly not warm with strangers. I don't know, but she just seemed very withdrawn. She seemed withdrawn, one. And then two, it's like, she won't be a girlfriend forever. That means she over it. Like, she didn't leave. I mean, she probably left of her own choosing, but not because she wanted to, but because she had to. She didn't get what she wanted, so she needed to leave. I get that. But yeah, her energy was a little off. And so yeah, but the truth is, or the question here is, like, we have to play devil's advocate. Now, we're not making Chris the bad guy here. She won't be the girlfriend forever. But herein lies the question, that if Chris felt like Valerie was his person, was the woman he wants, because there's always, like I think I've said in the past, that a man can be with a woman who he doesn't necessarily see as his life mate or his person, but can be with her, just be with her until the life mate comes along. So was she just in that girlfriend position because she wasn't his person? One would now ask, so why didn't he just let her know that you're not my person instead of wasting her time? Now that's a story that another conversation we can have, Yeah, I don't know. So I'm not even going to make him a villain because he didn't make her a wife, because he may not have seen her as a wife, but she was cool as a girlfriend. Let me ask the question, a key question. I don't know, she was trying to scare them. I don't know. She was like, yeah, could they see themselves in a majority role as a support system? And I think she asked that because she knew both these ladies are bosses in their own right. That could they put their boss hat down and just be a supportive role towards Chris? Is that something they could do? Immediately Jessica was triggered. So this time and time again, this topic, different things around this topic, I don't know if it's based on her past dating, but this is a trigger for her. She won't be a boss lady all the time. Like, yeah, you can do, we're the same. We're not the same, we're different. That's just my opinion. I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm just saying we're different. She goes on to ask, that did Valerie get the same support? And Valerie says she's gonna set Chris up. Like, she wouldn't blow this up. She wouldn't F him up. She talked about, yeah, no, she didn't get any support whatsoever, that she was in complete servitude. First of all, Valerie, why you put yourself in that position to be in complete servitude? A relationship is give and take. I give to you, and you give to me. Now, in the event where I'm giving and I'm not receiving, it's on me to now say, hey, what's up? And even after the hey, what's up, and there's no, you're not giving it back to me, then that's when I exit stage left. Because what she's describing, I don't know if that's accurate, but what she's describing is not relationship. It is servitude. But why you sit down there and be in servitude for how many years you were in servitude for? So her being in servitude is on her at this point. I don't know. And of course, there's two stories. There's always two stories and the truth. The truth is somewhere in the middle. I can't, at this point, I'm not really even going to point fingers, and it's not because he's Niger, but I'm not going to point fingers right now, because it's like we also have to take responsibility, because we are responsible for how people treat us. We teach people how to treat us. If he's not giving you what you want and you are giving him, why are you there hoping and wishing and waiting? You have to express. Like, that's the thing with a relationship. If you're not getting what you want, and like, easier said than done. I'm not saying I'm perfect at it either, but I'm saying that I understand that I have a role to play in a relationship with someone. If I don't speak up and say what I want or ask for what I want, that is also on me. Anyway, at the end of this date, Valerie concludes that she feels Aries is soft and that's person better suited for him. I mean, duh. My son could have told you that. You didn't need Valerie to tell you that, bruh. You remember that little luncheon date y'all had the other day or the other week? She said you asked her similar to this, and she said nah. No, in fact, not that she said nah, but she was rah. And it's not to say anything about Jessica. Everybody's different. We're made different for a reason. Now people call about this alpha, what's it called? Alpha, beta, Z, all these Greek alphabet nonsense. But if you're a man who wants to be like, right, and you're a woman who wants to be like, right, the yin and the yang, you can't yin and yang. You have to have yin and yang. It's really, let's do yin and yang. Let's stop using masculine, feminine, like, because we have both in us, and it doesn't work if we're both doing 90 masculine at the same time. It doesn't match. We have to kind of fluctuate. So you're gonna have to figure it out with whoever you partner with, how you're gonna make it work. But there has to be an agreement, not servitude. It has to be democracy, not a dictatorship. However you guys want to work, I'm not here to tell you, because ultimately you people know how you want to make it work out at the end. Because at the same time, I don't think, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't think Jessica wants a house husband. I don't think that's what she wants. Next date is Herbert with his ex Melanie meeting up with Chanel. Already, this for me is a win. We haven't started. Why is this a win? Okay, look, this is a win. You go back, Lola, why is this a win? I say this is a win because I wouldn't say in prior times they didn't always have you meet the ex paired up with the person, the people you are interested in. A lot of time it used to be one by one. This one I'm pairing them up to make it more like gangster, old Greek style, like warring. Like I don't like it. It creates the room for competition. To me, that doesn't make great TV. It makes it uncomfortable. So it's no longer, this show is not about connection. You want to entertain me. I'm not entertained by that. I think we want to be entertained by people truly connecting. People were into this show because it was meant to be older people, not 20s, making connections to motivate people on the outside, not to see people sparring big for a guy. I don't want to see that. Love and Hip Hop's for that. Bad Girls Club is for that. That's where all that stuff is. Like, why do I want to see that on Ready to Love? Look at your audience. It's not fun. I don't know who the producers. Anyway, so I go back to, I think this is a great start because there's one woman there, Janelle, meeting up with his ex, Melanie. One of the things comes up and she talks about, I think it was Melanie that talked about, being a mother or having children. I think the wording was something about having children, and Janelle was very quick to correct her and said she'd want to be a parent, but she may not necessarily have children. Now, if we remember correctly, this was one of Herbert's non-negotiables. He wants he wants to sire a child from his loins, if I'm to put it plainly. He wants his biological kid. If it's a non-negotiable, then Why are we still here? Episode 8. Yeah, this is episode 8, right? And this, as one of his non-negotiables, is still not quite hammered out with his top interest. Because Melanie didn't meet anybody else. Did he? No, she didn't. She didn't meet anybody else, did she? No, she didn't. So, y'all, every episode, y'all confirming to me that you ain't about connections. You're trying to entertain us, but I'm not entertained. It's not entertaining. Because I think I'm interested in the show to see a happy ending. A real happy ending, not a fake happy ending. Like, I haven't watched Love and Hip Hop in years. That's a different audience. The audience for Ready to Love and the audience for Love and Hip Hop are not meant to be the same, but you're all trying to make them the same. Maybe you like the Love and Hip Hop numbers. I don't know. But anyway, so here we are, episode 8. We are now talking, still teasing out one of Herbert's very definite non-negotiables. Why isn't Herbert sitting with Sierra? Now, I'm not telling him to go and meet somebody just because she has something he wants. If he's not attracted to her, he's not attracted to her. But I'm saying, like, why is Janelle your top interest if she, and I'm not saying she didn't say she wanted children, but she's, you know, just like him. You know, I don't know. Maybe it was just a conversation. But Herbert is very clear that he wants children. But he's also not in a hurry to have children. And I know Janelle is 41, I want to say. She doesn't have time to waste. I don't know if she has eggs already, you know, frozen. But she, and he also is, by all accounts, moves slow. Even the ex has said that he moves slow. So for someone you're meeting who is in her 40s, and you want to have children, then you need to be clear and precise and decisive. Herbert clearly is not very decisive. I mean, I don't want to come at him like that, but he don't appear to be, because he seemed to be dragging his feet. Because the other week we're talking about how Janelle wasn't sure if he was really into it because he was taking his time. He acting like he just come on this show because they begged him, not because he had an avid interest. So this is 2 red flags, even though it started off nice. 2 red flags. 1, she's not in line with his non-negotiable about how, you know, siring children. And then 2, their timelines don't even match. Rightfully so. I get where Janelle is going. Like, I'm of a certain age. I don't need to be sitting around here waiting till I'm 45, 46, and then you say, okay, well, maybe not. That's nonsense. And he won't take his time. Your timelines don't match, and your non-negotiables. She is a non-negotiable. She's one of the things you don't want to negotiate on. So why are we still negotiating? If I say I'm going to pay you $10 and you say the minimum you want is $30, and we sat down and you're fixed and I'm fixed, why are we still talking? Why are we still talking to each other at episode 8? You already said you're not going more than 10. I say I'm not going less than 30. What are we talking about? What, the benefits in between? That doesn't match up. I need benefits with that 30 minimum, while you don't want to give benefits with your 10 max. There's nothing to discuss. But they're discussing, wasting my time and wasting your time. They're just trying to make TV, and I'm not having it. Or is this real life? Do we sometimes in situations know our non-negotiables but try to wiggle around it, or to make it, well, maybe, not maybe. That's why it's called a non-negotiable. It's something you're not ready to negotiate on. It's something you're not ready to change. But she's still like, maybe. In real life, do we find ourselves in relationships like that? Like, he got a bad temper and that was something for you. You got triggered. You got some trauma from, you know, somebody with a bad temper, yet you find yourself again with somebody who has a bad temper. But now you're trying to, well, you know, he's a good person. No. If your non-negotiable is somebody who has a really strong temper and has no control over it, then what is there to negotiate? That's what I'm saying. And I'm just using that as an example. So I think in real life that happens. Because we believe, you know, we don't believe, I think because we don't believe that that person's out there is for us, sometimes we settle before what we really desire gets presented to us. So what we really desire that's waiting out there for us never comes to us, because we settled because we had fear that we weren't going to find what we really desired. We knew what it looked like, but we weren't sure it actually existed. And I believe that's where faith comes into it. So yeah, I think Herbert and Janelle are a perfect example of what you and I have done in the past. Or maybe we're doing it in the present. I don't know, wherever you are. But if you're talking with somebody and you continue to talk with somebody that is a non-negotiable for you, you're further wasting your time and theirs. All right, so next meetup is Phil. His ex is Amina. And the people he's going to be meeting up, I'm going to be showing her to, will be Aries, Katerina, and Kira. Why I say it like that? Because I did. Don't ask me questions. Ask your mom questions. All right, so already Phil's drawn a line in the sand because he has Amina meet Aries separately. That's respect. That's what I'm saying. If a guy likes you and respects you, he will do this. He won't put you in a position where you'll be hurt, harmed, or embarrassed. He will protect your dignity and protect your integrity because he cares for you. So if something happens or somebody comes into your space and he allows that, not somebody going to hit you, but he allows the disrespect. Maybe it's a baby mama situation. He allows the baby mama to do whatever she's doing. If he allows that to occur, my question to you is, how much does he really like you? How much does he really care for you? And how serious is he about you? Because already in the beginning, Phil has shown that Aries is the one that is important. The other two are backup. I'm sorry, I'm just saying what I'm seeing. Based on the edits from Own Network, I'm just seeing that Phil has already said that Aries is my top choice. The other two are my backup. Because he had Aries meet with Amina alone, which is what I prefer. Don't pack me with the rest of the pack. That I'm meant to be trying to be more talkative so you can get real. No, I would have done what Lee did too. I'm not here to compete with you. If you can't see my value at this point, I'm not for you. I wish you well. Does that know how the priest does it? Yeah, wish you well. I bless you. I bless you. I send you with God's blessings. Yeah. So right there. So yeah, already the meetup with Aries and Amina, and it was great. They talked about, you know, whether at the time they said he wasn't necessarily what you call it, physical affection, PDA. He wasn't into it. But funny thing is, the camera panned to him actually stroking Aries' leg while they were having that conversation. So we already know Amina's for Aries. But let's double back to the meeting later on that was between Kira, Katerina, and Amina. Yeah, I don't know what question that Kira asked Phil. And I don't know if it was editing, but as the poor guy was trying to answer the question, she's looking so disconnected and going away like, you know, her ADD is really kicking in. I don't know if the producers really weren't feeling Kira, so they gave her a bad edit. Because now I can see what a bad edit is when they, because before I say, well, you gave them what to edit. No, if they're jumping up different situations, you know, making them seem like they were, like it's cool. No, didn't make sense. You're asking me a question and all of a sudden you're looking for butterflies somewhere else. Like that didn't make a lot of sense. But then, yeah, I don't know. White Boots must have pissed off the producers. I'm not sure what's going on. But there's something I noticed here. I don't know if she said it. She did say it to his face. I won't say she said it to his face. I think she said to him that her preference was dating a man without kids. Okay. Here, let's talk about this. You, as a human being, you have every right to desire what you want. And go ahead and look for it. But I think also within that right, you don't have to, you can tell the truth without being rude. You can tell the truth without being blunt. You can show discretion and you can show emotional maturity. I think she shows a lack of emotional maturity by telling a man who already has kids that my preference is a man without kids. So you want him to kill his kids? What do you want? What do you hope to achieve with that statement? Now you can have that preference in your mind and humor him or not humor him, but you don't have to really say it unless he pushes and prods and says, why don't you? But just to tell him, well, my preference is a man with no kids. So why are you sitting in front of, why did you come for the date? Why did you show up? You know I have kids, you know I have a son. Why are you here? Like I'm just asking. You can go out and date people who don't have kids, and like that can be your preference. There are men who say they want to date a woman. Say what's a homie from last season, whatever. Say his name was Blake. He said whether he didn't want a woman. I can't remember. He said he didn't want a woman. He wanted, I can't remember what his preference was. Yeah, he wanted a one who didn't want kids. And some of the women wanted kids and they had beef with it. Okay, we'll do same thing. So the same beef I gave, or heat, or smoke I gave Blake, I need to give Kira. Right? Because she been a little rude with it too. Okay, well Blake was a little bit rude too. Kind of flat affect rude. But yeah, it's like you're making him a villain for having a kid. You're making it wrong. You can have that preference, but you don't have to say, you know what, just like, let me give you the equivalent to is like a man telling a woman, I can't date you because you're fat. Now you can feel like you would like a woman who is athletic looking. By all means, go pick a woman who's athletic looking, but don't sit in front of a woman who's not athletic looking and say, I don't want you because you don't look like this. That conversation is unnecessary. It's not necessary. Don't go into McDonald's and say, I don't want this low wage job. Why go into McDonald's anyway? Don't go to McDonald's to go look for a low wage job if you don't want a low wage. It's like, that's what I'm saying. If you want to be getting, $500 an hour, then don't go into McDonald's and apply for a job and then tell them they're not paying enough. That's the equivalent. That's the only way I can give the analogy to explain why she can have that preference, but why you sitting there? Why are you entertaining him? Is it not for TV time? So you're being disingenuous. You're no better. You're not better than him. In fact, you're worse because you're being disingenuous. You don't want him, but you're showing up. You should have just say, hey, Uncle Nephew Tommy, I don't think I see a man that wants me and I want. So I might need to leave. So anyway, we go to the gents lounge. Of course Janelle comes up and I think Herbert says something about, like Janelle is a whole thug. Like, because she is clear on what she wants. She's decisive and doesn't conform or bend to fit or try and appease what they want. So I think at the end of the day, it looks like a man will respect you if you stand for something. It may not work out, but you're not going to get the short end of the stick. So you standing in your belief is something, because they're all saying the same thing. Like he called her whole thug, but I like it. So that's Herbert, but Herbert, you like it, don't make any sense. You doing what we do all day. You just told us that your non-negotiable was siren kids, but she don't know if that's where she going. But that's what you like, at least for now. Then in December, we're going to hear that you people are not together, if you end up together at all. And then so Maury goes on to describe his disastrous date with Janelle, Jessica and the tarot cards. And he goes on to say something about, well, the only thing that's going to work out for him right now is Sierra. And then Nephew Tommy did say something that was key. He says, in choosing, it's not who you think likes you, but who you really want. Go for who you really want. Eventually, the person you really want will want you too. Because if you go in for who you think likes you, essentially you're settling. And then who you really want may come along after that time. And then you're going to look like a bad guy. Then what? You're going to break the heart of somebody who wanted you and probably put up with stuff they wouldn't have put up with, but they liked you, but you didn't like them enough. So I think that's key. I think we all need to be clear on that. I mean, sometimes our insecurities play a part. So as they're narrowing down the bottom two, of course Kira comes in. And looks like this, she wants, I don't know if this was, she sabotaged herself on purpose as opposed to walking out. Because they said, notice what they said. She had made, these different race comments with that she don't like black crowds, that she's like a white, but like just conflicting nonsense. And her approaching homie, talk about your preference white woman. But then you get offended because somebody tell you that you're not really like, pro-black. I don't know. Ammunition is here. Kira versus Sierra. Sierra boots nice. Sierra, sis, hit me up. Those deets, those boots were kind of cute. And it was, you put it together. Sis, you're a stylist. I give you that. You're a stylist. That look was nice. That was fire. She actually had, I feel, y'all tell me if I'm wrong, I feel there's a nice cute chemistry between her and Chris. Like, Chris needs to investigate this further. I know it's episode 8, but let's see what's going on. But have you guys noticed that I see Quentin and Janelle seem to be ones who are most connected? Or are they? I mean, it's a bit of a connection, but it's not much. Every season it gets worse and worse. Like by season 8, they have, because when you meet someone who you are attracted to, not just physically, but you find them interesting too. Like it's like a magnetic pull. I don't see anything this season. And it wasn't anything last season either. Yeah. Anyway, Kira meets up with Herbert. He was telling her about what the guy said. She wasn't receptive to the feedback. She said she agrees with them. And she agreed with me that she disconnected. She ready to go. She's thankful. Now, I don't know if that was her defense mechanism playing a part. Because if you weren't interested, sis, why you sign up? I'm just saying. I mean, yeah, you seem disconnected for most of the season, but why? Why boots? Why? So I don't know. I'm not sure if that was really her true feeling, or she just felt she had to be on the defensive because nobody really wanted her. Because nobody essentially wanted her. I'm not lying. Like, she know that, I know that, you know that, we know that. She seemed like that pesky little sister that keeps bothering you when your friends are hanging out. That's the only thing I can think of that it came up to. But here we are. Kira's gone home. Sierra's here to save another day. I think Sierra needs to be meeting up with Chris. What do you guys think? By the end of this episode 8, I'm very dicey, light, fele connections. Here we are. End of this episode. I don't know, guys. Like, we shall be talking about different ways to discuss real life. I don't know if Ready to Love is going to be able to continue to give us, you know, stuff to discuss, honestly. But anyway, please don't forget to like the video. Most importantly, drop a comment. I think I've talked about it a lot here. And last but not least, if you haven't subscribed, hit the subscribe button. Lola, over and out. Thanks.